This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means? It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Amazon for all your gifting needs.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 3.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. I'm delighted to have you. This is the third hour of the Eric Erickson Show. This open line Friday, the phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'll take your calls in this segment. But I need to begin with a very important point. There is a lot of talk about Laura Loomer right now, who is a lunatic who is very close to Donald Trump. And let me just explain this one to you with some background. According to multiple news outlets, Donald Trump wanted to hire Laura Loomer last year. And Susie Wiles, the co-manager of the campaign, along with Chris LaCivita, sat in on the hiring to block it. Lindsey Graham and Marjorie Taylor Greene, diametrically opposed polar opposites of the GOP. They're both telling Donald Trump, you gotta ditch Loomer. In addition to Laura Loomer going with Donald Trump to the debate in Philly, probably, I'm guessing, one of the people who told him about the pets being eaten in Springfield, Ohio. You know, Trump has the way of listening to the last person in the room with him. It's a bad leadership issue that some people have. You listen to the last person in the room. Donald Trump listened to someone complaining about Brian and Marty Kemp before walking on stage in Georgia and attacked the governor and his wife on stage in Georgia. And then he probably listened to someone telling him about pets being eaten by the Haitians in Ohio and went on stage of the debate. And guess what he does? Talks about that. I don't know whether it was Loomer or somebody, but everybody points the finger at Loomer at this stuff. She's a kind of toxic person. She has denied, or she said that 9/11 was an inside job, or she's promoted that. She denies it to CNN, but she's promoted conspiracy theories about 9/11 being an inside job. She has argued or suggested that the 2018 mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, and Santa Fe, Texas were staged. That the attempted 2018 mail bombings that targeted some progressive figures were a false flag operation. Last year, she promoted the video spreading the conspiracy theory 9/11 was an inside job and told CNN Thursday, quote, "I've never denied the fact that Islamic terrorists carried out the 9/11 terrorist attack." Early in her career, she was doing crazy right-wing pranks, including tried to putting a burqa on the Fearless Girl statue in New York City. She's invoked the white nationalist great replacement theory and has claimed apparently she supports a white ethno-state, allegedly. In July, she claimed Joe Biden was dying and final preparations were being made for him. She's a conspiracy theorist. Lindsey Graham has said Marjorie Taylor Greene is right. Laura Loomer is a bridge too far. Laura Loomer has tweeted that the White House will smell like curry and White House speeches will be facilitated via call center in response to a tweet from Kamala Harris about visiting her family in India. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene says that is extremely racist. Here's the thing. If Louis Farrakhan is a bridge too far for any Democrat, someone like Laura Loomer should be a bridge too far for the GOP. It's also a distraction, and it's an unneeded distraction right now. Whether you like her or not, I'm not a fan. Whether you like her or not, having her, given her history of conspiracy theories and other antics, whispering in Donald Trump's ear is not smart right now. He needs to be focused on the economy. He needs to be focused on immigration. He needs to be focused on crime. Laura Loomer whispering crazy things in his ears is not helping. You do not want Louis Farrakhan hanging out with the Democrats. You think it's a terrible sign when Democrats like Barack Obama go hang out with Louis Farrakhan or Reverend Jeremiah or Al Sharpton. If that enrages you, you should be concerned that Donald Trump is hanging out with a right-wing equivalent. She's not David Duke, but I do believe if he hung out with David Duke, some of his supporters would try to defend it. The same way, Laura Loomer is a horrible human being he should not be hanging out with, letting her and her nonsense get in his head when he needs to be focused on the border, he needs to be focused on crime, he needs to be focused on the economy. Donald Trump needs to be focused right now. Because here's the bottom line. Donald Trump is going to go to jail if he loses. They are working very hard to throw Donald Trump in jail. Jack Smith is not giving up that prosecution in Washington, D.C. The judge in New York City has decided to postpone sentencing until after the election, waiting to see what happens. The Democrats want to throw Donald Trump in jail. So I'll read you what I wrote. If you text the word data to 33777, you can subscribe to my Substack. You get a discount if you text data to 33777. Dear Mr. Trump, I've maintained that were the election held today, you would win the election. Kamala Harris is just an extension of the deeply unpopular Biden-Harris administration. A majority of Americans do not like you, but they prefer your administration's policies. The electorate is angry and frustrated. An angry and frustrated electorate does not preserve the status quo, which is Kamala Harris. The last few days, however, have made me rethink who would win. It's not just that your debate performance was not good. It's that ever since the assassination attempt, you've seemed both off your game and cloistered with friends, detaching you from reality. Your convention speech had neither rhyme nor reason. It went on too long and people tuned out. Once Mr. Biden was out of the race, you seemed to lose your interest in the race. It's as if you wanted to beat Biden to prove you could beat him, but now have nothing to prove. You secured your nomination and your leadership of the Republican Party. But now, frankly, if you do not win the presidency, the Democrats will probably cart you off to jail, so you need to win. Despite a poor performance, and before you say you had a good performance, remember that Biden has supporters who even now insist he beat you in that debate. There's cause for hope from your debate. Kamala Harris left a bad impression with undecided voters. Those voters believe she beat you in the debate, but also believe she's too tied to Biden without any real message to pivot from high inflation, high border crossings, and crime. The very first question in the debate was addressed to Kamala Harris, and it was, and I quote precisely, "Do you believe Americans are better off now than they were 4 years ago?" Kamala Harris neither said yes nor no. In fact, she did not answer the question, but acknowledged people can't afford homes or families right now. The Biden-Harris administration did that. Voters know that, so you have an opportunity. For the next 50 days, skip the national press. Go instead to Springfield, Ohio. Spend time with WHIO, highly regarded TV and radio station there. Forget the rumors of people eating pets. Remind people Kamala Harris has been on the job for 3.5 years and has done nothing she said she'd do in the future. Talk about the high cost of groceries. Talk about the city being overwhelmed with immigrants. Highlight the issue. Then hit the road. Go to middle American cities and swing states and spend time with the local news stations. Forget Fox. Ignore CNN. Instead, spend time with the local press and the citizens in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, or Cadillac, Michigan, or Altoona, Pennsylvania. Go to Las Vegas, go to Winston-Salem, go to Tucson, go to Atlanta. Everywhere you go, start and end with where you ended the debate. Your most effective moment in that debate was your very last closing statement that you clearly prepped, unlike your convention speech, where you pointed out Kamala Harris has been there for 3.5 years. She could have done everything she promises to do in the future and has done none of them. Talk about the economy. Talk about the border. Talk about crime. When the reporters inevitably do their job and they ask you tough questions about 2020, you're not disciplined enough to avoid taking the bait. But you can still say, regardless of 2020, Harris is there now. Look at the economy, look at the border, look at crime. If you were wise, you would spend less time surrounding yourself with people like Laura Loomer and others who whisper to you that all is well, all is not well. But the American people are still willing to give you a chance. You can still win, but you're more interested in talking about the crazy things fed to you by the online world than the real things that people care about and that undecided voters care about. At this point, this has been true for some time. You're not going to pivot. You're not going to change. You're not going to exercise more discipline. But if you don't change your conduct, you're going to go to prison. Your campaign at its highest level is well staffed with competent people. They are not the problem. The problem is who you've surrounded yourself with on a daily basis and what you say. And if you don't fix those things, you're going to lose the election and go to jail. That's what I wrote. I know it was given to him to read. Hopefully it will make a difference. I'm going to go to Gretchen's phone call now. Gretchen, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
Good. Eric, given Trump's performance in the Harris debate, how important is the Vance, other guy, Walz debate?
Walz.
And how do you think, I mean, I imagine Vance should be able to wipe the floor. Can that make up ground for Trump?
I hope so, although, I hope so. And Vance is a great debater. I think he'll be far better than Tim Walz. The problem is that nobody really cares about the vice president. The political pundits give the vice president disproportionate attention. But when you go vote, you're voting for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. You're not voting for Tim Walz or J.D. Vance. A small minority of people are. Not enough to matter. That's the problem. I think Vance will have a great debate. He better have a great debate. Maybe it can mitigate some of the damage that was done in the Trump debate. But again, the damage done by Trump is mitigated by Kamala Harris refusing to answer those questions, particularly the "Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?" I mean, the polling of undecided voters shows, one, they think she did better than him in the debate, and two, they're mad at her for not answering that question. So Trump and Vance both have a great opportunity, and Vance can, but vice presidential debates don't matter that much. Vice presidential candidates don't matter that much. The Democrats, you will notice, have kind of stopped trying to make J.D. Vance radioactive, not because they think they've done enough they can stop, but because they realize it's not really working. Every moment they spend talking about J.D. Vance is a moment they don't spend talking about Donald Trump. In the same way, every moment we spend talking about Tim Walz is a moment we're not spending on Kamala Harris. The VP pick just simply doesn't matter as much. And Trump has a great opportunity after this debate to turn the table on Kamala Harris and simply point out, you never answered the question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Because you can't. Because if you say yes, the American people will say you're lying. And if you say no, the American people will wonder why you haven't done anything about it. We have a candidate with a great hand playing it badly and a candidate with a bad hand playing it well in this election right now. And we need the candidate with a good hand to play it just a little bit better. And he can win. Don't count him out. But he needs to focus. If Donald Trump does not win, he's going to jail. That should give him all the focus he needs.
Hey, it's Emma Chamberlain. I designed these new glasses for Warby Parker, and I basically can't take them off. Like, I'm showering in them and sleeping in them. They're just that good. Go see them all at warbyparker.com. And you know what? Have a good day, too. Okay? All right? Bye.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry. Everybody's talking about it. Billions of dollars invested, so buckle up. The problem is AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, Databricks, Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Erickson, ERICKSON. That's oracle.com/Erickson, oracle.com/Erickson. Go check them out today. Greetings, conversationalists. I am delighted to have you. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number, 877-973-7425. This open line Friday. Let me go back to the phones. Mary Lynn, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing just great, Eric. I have a question about another non-answer from Kamala. When she was asked if she would put any restrictions on abortions, she did not answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
Given the fact that some of the evangelicals are disappointed in Donald Trump's stance on abortion, do you think with her non-answer that they will figure that they should go back and vote for Trump versus abortion up until the 9th month?
Yeah, look, I think so. Despite his initial missteps on the issue, he's been pretty good. And most of the pro-lifers, I know they're kind of aggravated with him, but also they understand he's still better than her, and the judges he picked would be better than her. So, yeah, I think they probably will. And by the way, just so people understand, the Guttmacher Institute is funded by Planned Parenthood. It is an abortion research group funded by Planned Parenthood. And according to the Guttmacher Institute, 10,000 women have abortions post-viability every year. 10,000 women have abortions after viability every year in the United States. Not only that, but roughly 2,600 abortions a year are done in the 9th month. Think about that. You are on the verge of giving birth the 9th month and have an abortion. Most Americans overwhelmingly say that's actually killing a human being who could live. And Kamala Harris, as Marilyn just pointed out, did not want to answer her position on that. She didn't want to take a stand on that. Where is the line for Democrats? And that's basically the question was asked is where's your line? How late is too late to have an abortion? Democrats really dislike answering that question. 10,000 women a year have an abortion after viability in this country, according to a pro-abortion organization, the Guttmacher Institute. 2,600 abortions a year are in the last month of pregnancy. You can say that's not a lot. Okay, so then why can't we pass a law saying you can't do that? Why not? Democrats are opposed to even that law. There's a play there for the GOP if they play it smart. Now, I'll take more of your phone calls when we come back. 877-973-7425. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all that fantastic stuff. Would absolutely love to be able to connect with you and have you get all that. Right now, though, I want you to connect with Vision Computers. If you go to 404-COMPUTE, call them at 404-COMPUTER, go to visioncomputers.com. Vision Computers can build you a computer. If you go to the big box store, you're going to get a one-size-fits-all designed for the broadest possible demographic, and that may not be you. What if you're an engineer? What if you're a gaming PC person? What if your kid wants a gaming PC? Vision can build you what you need and what you want. That's going to last you and not be outdated the moment you walk out of the store. And then you get their 5-star customer service for free. But let's say you want their customer service, because in 15 seconds or less, you can get the answer to anything wrong with your computer. They can do email support, printer support, all that. But you don't have a computer from Vision Computers. For still $179 a year, they can give you their customer service. So you get a special phone number. You call. The whole time is less than 15 seconds, and you get the answer. They can even remote in and help you with your computer with email support, printer support, you name it. Any one of you nationwide, any business nationwide, so you don't have to have the in-house IT guy. Vision does it for you. Go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. You're going to save even more money. Visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Let Vision take over your computer needs.
Blinds.com Cyber Monday Last Chance is happening now. Don't miss out on up to 45% off site-wide. A Blinds.com design expert can help you make the perfect selection on your schedule. We can handle everything from measure to your whole home installed for one low cost. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Save up to 45% site-wide, plus a free professional measure right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. One more little bit on Laura Loomer, real quick, because there is the feeding frenzy of people who hate Donald Trump, saying he's probably sleeping with her. They're probably having an affair. It's all the buzz online. Clearly, there's something going on. There's a relationship there. Have you seen Donald Trump? Donald Trump has a type. Whether it's his current wife, his former 2 wives, Stormy Daniels, he has a type. Laura Loomer ain't it. Have a hard time believing this rumor that comes, by the way, from people who despise him. So nope, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. I'm not going to. I don't believe that Kamala Harris was given the questions, and I don't believe that Donald Trump is having an affair with Laura Loomer. Do not believe it. People just want to believe stuff to confirm their priors. I still have a hard time with the people. In fact, I got an email from a guy who says, I'm having to stop listening to your show. I very much like your show, but the fact that you cannot appreciate that ABC gave Kamala Harris the questions means I can't listen to your show anymore because obviously they did. And I'm just thinking, how the hell is it obvious that they gave this woman questions? Because I could predict the questions. She didn't need the questions. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is a question that I could have told you that they were. And in fact, I did tell you before the debate that was going to be one of the questions. And if they gave her the questions, she'd have had better answers. It's wild that, basically every single one of these conspiracy theories is kind of an admission against interest. Trump didn't do well by people who insist he did very well. Well, really, if he did very well, why are you thinking that she was given the questions ahead of time? You got no proof. You have absolutely no proof. You just are presuming it. Someone on Twitter said something that they have on a whistleblower with an affidavit. Show me the whistleblower. Show me the affidavit. You don't have any of that. You got a cockamamie conspiracy theory to try to say that they gave her very obvious questions and she still couldn't answer them. And she did damage to herself. That's the thing everybody's missing. Everyone who's diving into these conspiracy theories is missing the point. She had a good debate. He didn't, and it doesn't matter because she didn't answer the questions people were hoping she would answer, and that hurt her. Back to Mika Brzezinski and everything else. That's why they're going to lose this. And you know what else they're doing? You know what the Democrats are having to do now? This is kind of funny to me. They've had to go full Hitler to try to scare people, and I don't think it's going to work. Here's Jason Stanley. Of course, he's on MSNBC.
Because you can point out, because it's so obvious, that the kind of politics we're seeing, the vilification of immigrants as vermin, as rats, as somehow an existential threat to white Christian dominance, the vilification of LGBT, the book bannings, these are all reminiscent of Nazi policies in the 1930s. And remember, it's not extreme to compare this time in the United States to the early 30s in Nazi Germany. That's well before the Holocaust. So what we're seeing, we see these clear parallels. And so it's inevitable that people will go back right now and say, oh, maybe the Nazis weren't so bad, because they're employing these Nazi tactics. They're employing these Nazi tactics against the targets of the Nazis, against our national minorities, against immigrants.
Yeah, that's right. They've gone full Nazi now. It's full Nazi. Full Nazi. It's got to be the Nazis. Everything's got to be the Nazis. They have nothing, which is why they're doing that. That's the only attack they have on Donald Trump, who, by the way, has done something else. So when Trump said the pet stuff on the debate stage, the press at least had to talk about what was actually happening in Springfield, Ohio. Now, I don't think Trump was playing 4 or 5 dimensional chess there. I think he was just Jar Jar Binksing his way through. But also, he said something else, and you'll notice the quiet around it. You'll notice no one in the press is really probing this, because I think members of the press have realized that it was a lie all along.
She's a liar. She doesn't work at McDonald's. She said she worked at McDonald's, right? Right? She worked at McDonald's and she was working so hard. There's only one problem. She didn't work at McDonald's. She's a liar. Liar.
I think he's right. I haven't seen anything. In the same way I haven't seen any evidence that the pets of Springfield, Ohio are being eaten by the Haitians, I haven't seen any evidence that Kamala Harris actually worked at a McDonald's. And the Democrats have been all over this. She worked at McDonald's. She never even wrote about it in her biography. It never came up. It is a new story that was never promoted before. She hasn't even produced a picture. I don't know about y'all, but when you get your first uniform and you're going to your first job with a uniform, your parents take a picture to memorialize that turning point in your life. There's no picture of Kamala Harris in a McDonald's uniform. I actually don't believe she worked at a McDonald's. No one's been able to verify that she's worked at McDonald's. The McDonald's corporate offices, they have no record of her ever working for any McDonald's franchise. She never mentioned it until recently. I think that's something that was made up. I'm happy to be persuaded by the evidence in the same way I'm happy to be persuaded by the evidence that the Haitians are actually eating people's pets or that Kamala Harris was given the pre-screened questions by ABC News. But thus far, there are allegations. There's just no evidence of it. I have some lady yelling at me that one of the people who had been unwittingly subsidized by the Russians is peddling the truth and the documentary evidence of the Haitians eating the pets. No, that's not actually happening. They're repackaging other stuff to make it sound like it was Springfield, Ohio, when it wasn't. People just lying through their teeth, hoping the boomers believe them. Same thing with Kamala Harris and McDonald's. They're hoping the progressive boomers believe them. And, oh, she worked for McDonald's. She's one of us. Prove it. There's no picture. There's no contract. There's no evidence she worked at the McDonald's. If I'm not supposed to take something Donald Trump says as proof without evidence, I'm not going to do the same with Kamala Harris. I'm going to hold both sides to the same standard. And right now, that means she did not work at a McDonald's, that she's lying. Prove me wrong. Back to the phones. Gordon, you're up next. Welcome.
Just a toothbrush.
Gordon, you there?
Yes, I am here.
Hi there.
Eric.
Sorry to interrupt your toothbrush talk.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. You've been waiting for a while. That's my fault, not your fault.
Okay. So I just wanted to call to kind of to phrase what Kamala says. Let's look at how we got here. Back in the primary, everybody had a choice to pick from a number of candidates. And everybody chose the candidate that we have now, and that's Donald Trump. And I did not. I chose DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
I chose DeSantis because, for one, I didn't want to give the Democrats what they wanted in the first place. And they wanted Donald Trump. Everybody wanted Donald Trump on that card. And that's what they got. And I knew that giving them him would give them the most baggage to be able to unpack. He's got the history. He's got everything that they want to speak to. And it's just going to be this long grocery list of things that we knew were there, they existed, but had we given them a newer candidate that didn't have all that baggage, and even when they flipped the card and took Biden off and put Harris on, that Harris couldn't have spoken to all the baggage that new candidate would have had, a younger candidate, however you want to look at it. If everybody's frustrated, they should be frustrated with themselves for picking Donald Trump. I will vote for him in the next upcoming election. But we're all frustrated because we made that choice, and we have to look at ourselves and say, yep, I put him there. I need to just take what I gave myself.
Yeah, look, I will tell you, I've got a lot of friends who are kind of in that camp. In fact, I've got a text chain with some friends right now, the number of them saying, look, I don't like him, but I'm going to vote for him, but I resent being put in this position. There are concurrently a lot of Donald Trump fans who genuinely love the guy, who believe that he had a stellar debate, and we're all got to be in a coalition together. My problem here, Gordon, and I'm going to let you go there. Thanks for waiting. Sorry to interrupt you in your conversation about your toothbrush. That was on me, not you. How do I say this delicately? We're all in a coalition together to support someone against Kamala Harris. But within the coalition of support, there are some who like the guy and some who don't like the guy. What I find is the ones who like the guy are the meanest, angriest people. They're the ones who, despite me saying I want him to win, despite me giving him money, despite everything I say reminding you he can win, despite pointing out undecided voters didn't like his debate performance, but they actually still prefer his policies, and that's why he can win, despite all of that, because I'm not willing to hump that man's leg like a little chihuahua, I should lose my job. They come after my advertisers. They call my stations and complain. They send me hate mail because I'm not loyal enough. And I do know people. I am not in this camp. I tend not to. I tend to just, it just bounces. So people are angry, and I get it. Same way with the guys who showed up at my house in 2016 to threaten me and my family. People are like, it didn't happen because you didn't call the cops. No, I wouldn't go call the cops. They were just mad people. They were mad. I disagree with them. I understood their anger. They weren't bad people. They were just mad, and they were taking their anger out on me. So I get it. But I do know friends who are so thoroughly aggravated with these people, they really are at the point where, like, I just hope they lose. I want Donald Trump to win, but I want his supporters to lose. I'm like, nah, you can't be like that. You can't let what other people do. I mean, you got to turn the other cheek. You got to turn the other cheek. God's going to settle this in the end. What I do think is happening, though, right now is that a lot of people are going to see their idols smashed. There are a whole lot of people who are worshiping at the altar of idols in politics, on the left and the right. And eventually, every single one of their idols is going to be smashed. Maybe me too, and I don't see it. Because I know a lot of these people, they don't see that they're worshiping at the feet of idols. But I think if you're that willing because someone online said something and you're just going to rush to believe it, like the Kamala Harris was fed the questions by ABC News. There is no evidence of it. There is one anonymous account on Twitter that said it, and it went viral. There is a supposed news account on Twitter that is actually a peddler of misinformation. Like, that's its whole point, is to peddle nonsense and lies. that circulated it, and people are retweeting this. And if you're willing to believe that stuff, you are definitely worshiping idols. And they're going to be smashed. And I'll just say provocatively here, I do sometimes wonder if the outcome of this election is going to be whatever does the most to smash the idols of the people who claim to be believers. And if that's the case, well, I don't think the election is going to go the way a lot of us want it to go if that's the case, because people need to be separated from their idols. You're being separated from your money right now by the government. Swiss America has been warning about this, sounding the alarm with bank collapses around the secret war on cash spreading. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash, you need their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets in their report, The Secret War on Cash. Now, you get it. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. I've read it. I've got my copy. It's very interesting the way the government puts tracking in cash, and it can be tied to you even though you think you're anonymously spending cash. You get your free report by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency, and it's spreading. The report is completely free. All you do is mention me, Eric, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. 2646. Get the free report from Swiss America at 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric or 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. One last call for the day. I'm going to go to Christopher here. Welcome to the show, Christopher. How are you?
Hey, Eric. Greetings to you. Love the show.
Thank you.
Always make an effort to listen to you every day, even if I don't get to call in. Hey, I wanted to talk about Trump's performance real quick before you cut off. Is that even though it was an underwhelming performance, is that I kind of see it as like a callback to the vote between Gore and Bush of the early 2000s. It was like, because I kept hearing a lot of people saying, a lot of talking heads saying this is a vote between a lesser of two evils. And it's like people don't like the guy, but they love his policies. I mean, we already had a whole 4-year lengthy rap sheet of what he can do for the economy and for the country versus we've had virtually a whole entire 4 years administration of Kamala and Biden. And so we've seen where we had an opportunity in real time to weigh out the differences and to see, so which is what should in quotation marks influence the vote to where it should be right now, a landslide for him. But I fear that this might not.
You know, I'm glad you say that because, again, I think this is the point for all the people who are discouraged and they're trying to come up with crazy conspiracy theories to explain the debate and stuff. It doesn't matter for this simple reason. Undecided voters, every single undecided voter who will vote in November has lived through both the Trump administration and the Biden administration, and they don't like the Biden administration's policies. Even if they don't like Donald Trump, it doesn't matter. If the guy's going to make you rich, are you going to vote for him? Who are you going to vote for? The person who cost you money or the person who made you money? You may not like the person who made you money, but he made you money. Of course, you're going to vote for that guy. And that's the thing I got to keep coming back to with people who got discouraged from the debate. The undecided voter focus groups after that debate should be deeply encouraging to every single Trump supporter. You do not have to try to come up with a conspiracy theory to explain the debate because the undecided voters think she walloped him and are furious with her. Why? Because she didn't answer the first question and she couldn't answer any question thereafter. Who cares about the questions? It's her answers that were bad. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago is the most predictable question to ask in a debate. Why? Because in 1980, it's how Ronald Reagan closed out his debate performance against Jimmy Carter. It was his line. And every debate moderator ever since has been asking the question, including in 1984, Reagan versus Mondale. It was the debate moderator who brought up the question, and Reagan, of course, laughed and thought it was funny the guy was asking the question because everybody was better off then than they were when Reagan took office. And every moderator has brought up the question. You don't need to know that question is going to be asked. You know it's going to be asked. And she couldn't answer the question. And the undecided voters are so mad at her. Even Mika Brzezinski is like, my God, they're going to vote for Trump over this? And the New York Times is like, they just might do that because they're mad at her. So be encouraged as you go into the weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday.